Hello. I'm looking in the chat already and seeing you guys saying happy solstice and happy Yule. So that is particularly precious and I love it. Today is a crazy busy day for me. Well, not like crazy busy. I mean, like, is anything crazy busy in our current times? No, not really. But my work schedule has gotten like all kind of flipped around because of the holiday. And usually I have people on Thursdays, and some of the people that are on Thursdays wanted to obviously reschedule because the next two Thursdays are eves, like holiday eves. So I'm seeing like two clients today. I don't usually work Mondays. I had an appointment today, and I had other plans of things I want to get done. Now Tally's scratching at the door, and I'm not going to stand up to let her in right now. So I'm also going to be multitasking and painting my toes, which I will not show you. Don't worry, I'm not a weirdo. But I just don't have enough time in my days to do everything that I want to. Yeah, go ahead and let her in. Thanks. Hi, baby. Hi. Hi. Want to lay on the beddies? So I'm going to do this. Awesome. Hello. Yeah, glad you guys could join me. Go on. I didn't have any book that I really wanted to review today, which is why I decided to do a live. Excuse me, I just ate dinner like really quickly. Baby, can you go up on the bed so I can like do what I need to do down here and you can be on the beddies? It'd be fantastic if you decided to do that. Okay, so how are you guys? Hi, hello. Happy solstice. I'm going to be doing all my solstice stuff. That's the other thing. Solstice is today. So I'm going to be doing all my solstice stuff tonight. As far as I'm hoping to take like a ritual bath. I don't know if that's actually going to end up happening. I'm going to definitely do a tarot spread and manifestation because it's the great conjunction. Start this live off with witchy talk. As is my habit now. Okay, let's do this. Do you guys have any plans for solstice and or Yule? Tally. Yeah, exactly. Why don't you mind your business? Hello. Have you seen the English Heritage YouTube channel stream for the solstice? I missed it again. Well, has it happened? It has happened. I caught a little bit of it last solstice, like for summer solstice, and I did not really catch it today. So, oops. Just because there's so much going on today. I don't think I'm gonna be able to see the conjunction in the sky actually today. Oh no, Tally's scratching to get back out. Because it's like kind of cloudy here, so I don't think I'm gonna get to see it. It was really funny though, because my mom was like, I want to go see the Bethlehem Star. And I was like, Bethlehem Star? And she explained it, and I was like, the Great Conjunction. So, yeah, it's kind of funny. I was like, oh, even the Christians are excited. But, yeah, it's kind of, I was like, if that's what makes you feel better about planets, it's totally fine. It's totally fine with me. So, just getting my stuff ready for pedicure funness. Man, I feel like I haven't painted my toes in forever. We manifest it for sure. That is, people on TikTok keep being like, don't waste this energy. And so then it puts like a ton of pressure. I'm like, what if I don't manifest properly or what I should? Even though that's not how manifestation works and it doesn't have rules like that. But, still with the way society views things, I still have that fear in my head. Oh, I should probably file my nails a little bit more. Anywho. Hello. Yeah, there's 50 of you. I'm surprised since I gave you such short notice. I'm glad you could make it though. I don't think that I'm going to read a favorite book this December, which is so weird because for the last 3, maybe 4 years, I've read a favorite book in December every year, which is why I wait. I don't post my favorites videos until January. Also, because I just like that January energy of favorites, least favorites, goals, all of that stuff is just super fun. So I wait till January anyway. But usually that really pays off because I have a new favorite couple or a new favorite like book or whatever, and I don't think it's going to happen. Well, I mean, I want to try to finish the ancillary. Well, I guess it's the Imperial Rocked trilogy, and those have been good. Those have been like 4 stars, but I don't know if it's going to be a favorite, the finale, but it could be. The finale could be a favorite, but I don't really consider that like a new discovery because I started reading those like last year before, whatever. So yeah, but I've also like had a very reading month. Maybe it's because I'm playing more video games this month, but I'm reading like super slow, and I don't know why because I feel like I'm still reading like the same amount of time, but apparently I'm not. I mean, I'm probably not because I'm playing more video games, but still, I thought I was prioritizing, and apparently that is not the case. I'm hoping to also finish a book tonight and go get groceries, which I might. I mean, I could technically put off groceries, I guess. I mean, it's stuff that I do need for Christmas, but I could still go like after work the next kind of like 2 days. So, you know. I've heard really good things about Cemetery Boys by Aiden Thomas, but if I was going to read that, I would probably wait until next Halloween. Not because I need to, but because I always like saving like those kind of books for like spooky season, you know? Halfway through Winter of the Witch and loving it. Yes, I actually kind of want to reread Winter of the Witch in like January. To be like totally truthful. That's just kind of what I want to do because I love it and it's so wintry and so great. So yeah, but I'm hoping to finish. Right now I'm finishing up the Falconer series, which is just fine for me. Although people have told me like, see what you think of the ending, so we'll see. But right now it's like probably going to be like a 3-star series for me overall. I'm reading the finale right now, hoping to finish that tonight, and then I'm going to do the Imperial Rocked, and then I'm hoping to still be able to squeeze in Song of Race and Ruin, which is my Patreon book pick for this month. But I might just have to read that at the very beginning of January, which is fine. I just have 2 books that I'm reading in January for Patreon. Because I also want to, I already read a Christmas romance this week, and then I want to read one more that I just started. And I would like to finish that like around Christmas, because reading a Christmas romance after Christmas is just like not something I want to do like at all. Like I'm barely in the Christmas spirit right now. I really don't want to like continue post Christmas. So were you able to figure out what your Greystone was? I haven't really looked into it yet. A couple people posted some like sites that might help me identify it. So I'm gonna try to do that, but I just haven't had a chance yet today. But I'm going to at some point. Hello, I'm at my lunch from work. I wanted to drop by and say hi. Hi. Can you explain the difference between a social worker and a psychologist? The Q&A confused me a bit. There's overlap. That's probably why I confused you. So there's a bunch of different professions that exist within the mental health sphere. The difference is minimal, and it's honestly like kind of our training. It's weird because within the like mental health career field, there is a lot of like weird, like not competitiveness, but like the people who have one degree are like, my degree is better. Obviously, like they're gonna say that. And there's like certain biases and stuff. Basically, social workers, the way that I've described it to people, social workers have a more macro level look at things. We are much more like, not that other professions can't be, but our training is much more focused on like societal things that make things harder for people. Racism, sexism, capitalism, the patriarchy, like we're really aware of that. We're also really aware of like resources and like community-based resources, and like we're much more focused, well, not necessarily more focused, but like our focus is much more like strengths-based and like meeting people where they are, and like just we have a tendency to work with like rougher populations, not that other professions don't. And psychologists and psychiatrists are like higher level, like typically like to be a psychologist, you have to have a PsyD, like a psychology doctorate, and a PhD for psychiatry. Yeah, she can't make up her mind if she wants to be in or out. It's ridiculous. So that's much more of like a medical model. And then Then there's like LMFTs, like licensed marriage and family therapists, licensed professional counselors. There's like a bunch of other like counseling degrees, and their training is much more like counseling based. Like in like my master's program, I get training on like counseling and, like I said, like macro issues and like societal norms and like all this stuff. Where the other professions might have like a little bit of that, but it's much more focused on like therapy training, or like counseling specific, like individual kind of training. So that's the difference. But there's not much. Like, it's not like, I personally think like it's not like a social worker is like better or worse. I just think people do better in certain like fields, depending. Like, I wouldn't want, and I don't think they even can be. I wouldn't want like a LMFT in, I don't know, like a community like based inner city program necessarily. I mean, I'm sure they can be. I'm sure they can do great. But like, I just think certain professions are more tailored. Their training is more tailored to certain populations. So, but there's a lot of crossover. I mean, that's why everyone just calls themselves like a therapist. And like a therapist could be any different kind of mental health background. So, let's see what else. Okay, let me make sure I didn't miss anything. Did you get to the new Christina Lauren book? Yes, we're actually reading that. Or we like, well, I've now finished it, but that was the Christmas book that I've already read. That's our House Salt book club pick for this month. Just because we wanted something like really easy, and it is. It's just like very like easy, like it's quick to read. It's like 300 something pages, like, you know, fine. But we're going to talk about that next Sunday. Is actually our live stream for that. So. What are some TV shows you're excited for 2021? I haven't been really watching a lot of TV, to be honest. I mean, like all of 2020, I really haven't watched like anything. I was actually looking at my, you know, like media, like year in review for media that I'm going to probably end up doing. I did it last year and I want to do it again this year. And I've watched, and I'll talk about this in that video, but I've watched The Witcher in January. And then I watched Umbrella Academy season 2 in like fall sometime. And I started a little bit of Avatar: The Last Airbender, but not enough to actually review it. And that's it. I'm pretty sure that. Oh, and I watched The Mandalorian. I watched The Mandalorian like February, maybe March. So that's all I've watched, like TV show wise, like all year. So in theory, there's shows that I'm like, yeah, that's interesting, but like the odds of me watching it are so low because right now, books and video games are like my priority. Like right now, like I just finished God of War, the newest God of War. I'm playing Ghost of Tsushima right now, which is really good. I like it. I'm liking these more like streamlined games that are still like open world you can explore around, but they have like more of a focus and everything has a point instead of games that have like a million side quests and you just get like bogged down in them. I'm looking at you, Assassin's Creed. I love Assassin's Creed. I love it. I'm going to play Valhalla eventually. But I just finished Odyssey, didn't even complete the whole thing, like didn't 100% it or anything. And I have no chance of doing that just because there's so many side quests that it's like, okay, these aren't even like pertinent to the story at this point. So I'm kind of getting away from those. And I'm, like I said, I'm just playing God of War and Ghost of Tsushima. So I think that'll be good to kind of take a break from some of the bigger games. Because I mean, before then I'd been playing, besides Mass Effect, like Dragon Age Inquisition is like a lot of side quests. I would say not even as much as like Assassin's Creed Odyssey though. And what else had I been playing? Something else that was like bigger. So just kind of getting it more centered. So after Ghost of Tsushima, I asked for a bunch of games for Christmas. I don't know which ones I'll get, but I have like Outer Worlds on my list, the remake of Final Fantasy VII. What else? I returned Cyberpunk because I'm not going to play that until the new year and all the updates come up. Possibly even until I get a PS5. We'll see what happens, which makes me cry, but you know, it's fine. I'm dealing with it. I have other games on there. I'm forgetting what they are. I mean, I think I might have asked for Valhalla just to like have it. Yeah, shit. What else did I ask for? I'm not going to pull it up right now. But I have a number of video games that I can play. So I'm going to be doing that and reading like all winter. So the odds of me watching a TV show are slim. Like, I still have to watch Stranger Things season 3. Like, I have still not watched that. And that I would say is one of my like favorite shows, and I still haven't watched it. I should have watched it in October, like a normal person, and I haven't. So yeah, I'm not really caught up on the TV stuff at this point. People are asking about the Shadow and Bone show. Did I see the trailer? Yes, of course I did. I'm still, yeah. So I guess that's a show that I'm excited about for April. Like I will watch that. That feels like different though. I don't know. Like when I think of TV shows, I don't always necessarily think of adaptations, which is stupid because a lot of TV shows are adaptations. So like, yes, I will watch that. But that might be like the only show. I mean, I want to watch The Mandalorian season 2. I'm gonna get spoiled for it. I already know like a little bit of stuff. So I want to watch that like soon-ish, at some point. In the winter, and then Shadow and Bone, and then I guess if they come out with like Umbrella Academy season 3, maybe like late next year, I can see myself watching that. But I just don't watch a lot of TV. I don't. I really do need to watch the Clone Wars, but I probably won't. Like I know because I know there's a lot of characters like for the Mandalorian that are like popping up in there and whatever. Not a lot, but like at least some. And I'm just like, I mean, I've been meaning to watch Avatar for like years and I still have not like gotten far enough in it. So I guess for 2021, realistically, I'll watch The Mandalorian season 2. I'll watch Shadow and Bone. I'll watch The Witcher because I think they announced a season 2 of that like coming out in 2021 at some point. And and then if there's an Umbrella Academy season 3, then I'll watch that probably. Did I say that I'd probably try to catch up on Avatar? Like maybe those, even that, all of that's a stretch. Like all that happening is a stretch. I don't know. Like maybe. I don't know. I mean, it could happen because I'm going to talk about this in my goals video. I need to paint my fucking nails. I need to also set a timer so I don't go over because I have a client that I need to see at 6. What am I saying? Oh, I'm trying to like really, really, really limit the social media in 2021. Like not YouTube, because YouTube doesn't like suck me in the way it does some people, but like Twitter, which isn't as bad as it used to be, and like TikTok. So if I limit those things a lot, I probably could watch more TV. But will TV make me feel like better? I don't know. Better than those things do? I don't know. I don't know if that's necessarily true. So yeah, we'll see. But that could potentially sway things a bit in TV's favor. But honestly, if I cut out social media, I'll probably just play games more and read more. We'll probably go to those things. So, do you think 2021 will be a better or worse reading year for you than 2020? It's hard to say. My 2020 wasn't a bad reading year. I think my reading years have kind of leveled out these days to where like they're all kind of just like good. Like I have a nice mix in there, you know, like yeah, I would say 2020 was like pretty decent. I actually haven't looked at my favorites list yet, so I don't actually know how great it was at this particular point. I mean, I guess I could check my spreadsheet and it would tell me stats wise, but I tend to kind of aim for like a bell curve type rating anyway as like an average. So I think it was pretty okay. There was definitely nothing that I like has stuck in my feelings as like hating this year as much as like other years. So I think potentially I could read slightly less than this year, but that's going to be because like hopefully we'll eventually have more lives. Like, you know, we can do more stuff. But thankfully, I think my job is going to let me read enough, like to my liking. You know what I mean? I mean, we'll see what happens when we eventually get back to offices, but I don't feel as drained from this job when I get out of work as I have in previous jobs where it's just like not even allowed me to read at all on days that I work, where now like I try to read like half an hour at least on days that I work, and I'm usually able to do that. So yeah, kind of go either way, but I don't think it'll be much worse potentially. Yeah, Cyberpunk has been removed from the PlayStation Store. That's why when I got it, I got it a little bit late, and I'd already heard that people were not having a good time with it on PlayStation. So I waited, and then when I saw the announcement, I think someone put it in the Patreon chat that they had pulled it from PlayStation Store. I'm like, yeah, I'm returning this, because then by the time I play it, it might be down in price. Like it's a bummer because it's like it's been one of my most anticipated games for like years, but I don't want to play it and not enjoy it. You know, like I don't want it to be buggy as hell. Like I don't tend to play games right when they come out. So I don't tend to play games when they have bugs, even like minor bugs. Like everything tends to be worked out when I play a game. With a few exceptions, do I play games like right immediately when they come out. So I'm just not used to that. So I don't want it to be that on like an extreme scale too, because it's like it shouldn't have been released, you know? How are your moving plans progressing? Anything new or just on pause? So I basically said, I think I mentioned this before in streams potentially, that like when a vaccine is announced and we start having more of like an idea of when things open back up is when I'll like kind of start moving. So I'm thinking, I mean, a vaccine has been announced, obviously, but a lot of the experts are saying it's going to be like spring, summer before like general population start getting vaccinated. So I'm thinking we won't even go back to our offices until like summer, fall. So I'm thinking like late spring, early summer for a move. I would like to move within the first 6 months of the year unless something drastically changes. Like if things start happening where it's like, oops, these vaccines, like, well, actually, I'm not going to say anything like that because I don't want to start any like anti-vax speech because I'm not like, I'm getting the vaccine when I can. Yes. Like I had someone the other day was like, are you gonna get the vaccine? I'm like, yeah. And they're like, what, blah, blah, and they started to kind of like spout some stuff. And I was like, I guess I just wasn't in the mood at that point. I wasn't rude, but I was like, these veins have been pumped full of chemo, and I've walked barefoot in Philadelphia. I'm getting the vaccine. Like, I just, like chemo is like something that can like kill you from the inside out, and I've had that in my body. So like, it, I'm fucking getting the vaccine. Like, I have absolutely zero fear of vaccines. I get from the other side of things if somebody has like disabilities, or obviously there's a whole thing with like race and how people of color have been treated by like pharmaceutical companies, or people who are allergic to things and vaccines legitimately. That's a whole other conversation. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the people that can like totally get a vaccine and are like, I don't know. I'm like, oh, okay, so like we have proof that this like virus could kill you, but like you're worried about maybe a vaccine. I don't know, it's like a whole rant, but like, yeah, I'm getting that as soon as possible. So I'm thinking then like I would say the earliest I'd probably move is like April. I'm thinking, I'm kind of hoping for like Biden to come in and do like a nationwide lockdown. Would love to see it. I don't know if it's going to happen, but I would love it. And like kind of clear some stuff out a bit, get some vaccines rolling out, and then things, kind of get like a reset and see what happens from there. But I am totally fine with moving before our offices open, but I'm hopeful that the offices will open again like in 2021 in like the fall or the winter. But it would be cool to be at my own place like late spring, early summer, basically. And I think I've decided where I want to go. I mean, I am going to look at some private listings right when I want to move, but I don't think there's going to be a ton necessarily. It's just kind of harder. But like all the places I've looked, Facebook Marketplace, apartments.com, Zillow, PadMapper, are all like complexes, so it's like really hard to find just like privately owned spaces. I am a part of a Facebook group that's like Chicago Plant Lovers Apartments, so that when people want to sublet their apartments that are like really plant friendly, they post it there. So like I'm gonna look there too, but the odds of me finding something like perfect in the location I need is like probably not gonna happen. So I'm thinking I'll move into this like place that I found that's near my office. But I am a little bit torn because it is, I don't know if any of you are in like the Chicago area, but it is in like a suburb that's like a western suburb, but like pretty close to like Chicago proper. Like I could technically get an address probably that is like Chicago. But part of me is like, do I move into like Chicago proper on like the western side or not? Is it going to be easier to like meet people and do things if I'm in Chicago, like seriously? But also I kind of prefer the ease of like a suburb and still being able to go into Chicago and not necessarily living in a city. I don't know. I don't know if I'm overly romanticizing one or the other location. I just don't want to be like the place that I could potentially be moving is a place that's like a little bit more suburban, like family area, which is really like quiet and it's like nice. Like I don't want to live in a dump anymore. I'm in my 30s. Like I don't want to live in like a shithole just to be in like the city, or to like save money. Like I want to live in a place I can afford, but like that's like nicer. I just don't want to live in like just a crappy place. I just don't. And I have the privilege to be able to not have to do that potentially. So I'm trying to like weigh what I want to do there. Because part of me is like, be in this city, man. But I'm also like, I don't like love living in city. I mean, I didn't love living in Philly. I think Chicago's a little bit different, but like, I don't know. I don't know. The prices aren't too drastically like higher to live in Chicago. There's a lot of things I have to kind of like juggle, but I just don't know. I just don't know. I could definitely live in Chicago if I had like a partner that I was living with, or like a roommate, which I'm not going to have a roommate. It would only be like a partner, but I don't have one of those. So like, I kind of have to just decide based on my income. It would be like an easy decision if it's like, oh yeah, we'll move to the city. But like, yeah. So I mean, I'll be like in the western part of Chicago / the suburbs, kind of regardless, within the first 6 months of the year, hopefully. That was a long-winded thing. Okay. What hours do you work for your job, or do you do all sorts? I typically work 2 to 3 to like 8 or 9 at night. Those are my typical hours. And then on Saturday, I work like 11 to 4 usually. Did I say Sunday? On Saturday. So yeah, and then I have a few days off throughout the week too. But those are my typical hours. I'm like the afternoon evening person, which is perfect for me, honestly. Oh, yay, your goals video is very inspiring. I plan on doing something similar for 2021. Nice, Mariana. Yeah, I really like that. I actually have a goals video coming up too for like what my actual goals are for 2021. I'm going to be doing like a lot of content about that because I'm so jazzed about the new year. And I usually am. I get like energy around this time the last like couple of years. So I'm going to be doing like a goals video. I'm going to be doing videos of me like resetting my life, like doing like digital declutters and like cleaning out my space and doing like witchy like preparations and like all this stuff. So I'm probably gonna have like multiple exclusive video, but like I'm gonna have a number and like almost like a series probably. So yeah, it's just gonna be a good time for that. But a lot of like goal videos, both on my booktube channel and on my personal one, like right in January. Could you make a plant wish list video? Annie, you are in luck. That is on my Vlogmas list and it's coming up. Actually, is it tomorrow's video? It might be tomorrow's video. So yeah, you're going to get it. It's going to be great. I actually already filmed it. My sister works for NHS and she's had her vaccine. I confirm she's absolutely fine. Yeah, vaccines for the vast majority of people are going to be totally fine. Please get a vaccine. Oh my God, we know a lot about vaccines. Like they are very, very safe for the majority of people. If you are not the person that it's safe for, you'll know that like already, and it won't just be about this particular vaccine that you're scared of. Please get a vaccine. Oh my God. Oh, yay. Read my first Brandon Sanderson book, Warbreaker, and it was amazing. Wanted to share. Welcome to the Cosmere universe, man. Aim for somewhere accessible by public transport, but still a suburb. That's what I'm thinking. Like, so the suburb that I'm thinking of moving to is definitely like, there's trains there to get into Chicago. So that's what I'm thinking. Like, and I'm thinking like, for like dating and making friends eventually, it's like, I'm not that far away. So if someone's going to really be a butthead about like, oh, you don't live in the city, I'm like, well, I don't want to date you anyway. Like people that are like really pretentious about living in the cities. Like, stop. Like, that's super gross. Like, just, oh, you don't live in the city. I like hate it. I hate that attitude. Like, I will come into the city. Like I'm gonna like hang out in the city. I just don't want to live there where it's loud and like maybe more like dirty and like impossible to get parking and I pay like out the ass for an apartment. Like that's just not the life I want to lead necessarily. So we'll see. Unless I can find a really cute city apartment. Because I have friends that live in Chicago. Like I know things. I know things about Chicago. So that is what I'm still working out. But it's a lot harder because I haven't been able to go into Chicago to like see things and like check out what neighborhoods I want to live in since I've moved back because like there's nothing to do. So why? Which makes things a little bit harder to decide. Are you still trying to grow your hair out? I sure am. Can you see back here? That's how much it's grown out back here. It's starting to get pretty soon here in the next couple of weeks. It'll start to kind of flip out because you can start to see the texture. Like you can see that there's curls there that want to do stuff, and I'm like, don't. So it's only a matter of time, but I'm still doing it. I'm still doing it. Okay, I'm gonna be fine. It's fine. I put on my goals list for the year. Did you grow up in a city or suburbs or the countryside? I grew up in suburbs, so like I'm very comfortable in suburbs. Like, well, my city is like technically not a suburb, but like almost. Like when I tell people in other parts of the country, like where I live, I'm like, it's like a Chicago suburb. It's not technically. It's like pretty, like it's like 60 miles like west of Chicago, but basically is like you drive maybe 30-40 minutes and you hit the suburbs. Like so, and in the Midwest, like that's not a long ways. So yeah, I definitely am used to like the ease of a suburb, like I just want to be able to park. It's really parking. Like honestly, parking runs my life a lot because I hate nothing more than having to fucking parallel park. on a street somewhere or pay out the ass for a parking lot, do not charge me for a parking lot. $20, like that's stupid. And I will have a car because I will have to like I can't my offices I would have to drive to. So like I can't just live in Chicago and be like, oh, I'll take the L and I won't have a car and I won't have to worry about parking. No, not possible for me. So that's part of the struggle as well. I just want things to be convenient a little bit, you know. I want to enjoy the city but not have to like deal with city bullshit. I hate parking in the city. Oh my god. Ugh. It makes me so angry. Least favorite genre? I don't say it's like least favorite, but I don't like love literary fiction. I mean, I don't love like military sci-fi. I would probably say that's like my least favorite genre of the ones that I read like consistently. Military sci-fi, no. Did you do anything for the Yule winter solstice? I haven't yet, but I'm going to hopefully do a ritual bath, do a tarot reading, and doing some manifesting and meditating and thinking on life, you know. But I always want to like do more than I do, and sadly, I don't. Like every witchy holiday rolls around, I'm like, I want to do something, and I don't. Like it sneaks up on me, and like I think maybe when I move out, I might more because I don't have like space. I can like decorate in a way I want to and it not be like, what are you decorating for this particular season, you know, or like cook stuff more. Like, I mean, I can cook here, like it's not a big deal, but like, I don't know, I just think it'll be easier when I have my own space. Do you ever read nonfiction? I do, but not the nonfiction that most people think of. I read a lot of like therapy, psychology type books, and I read a lot of like witchy books. Like at any given moment on my bedside table, I have a therapy, mental health book, I have a witchy book, and I have my Kindle with a contemporary romance on it. And those are things I read before bed. Like I'll try to read like a little bit of each before bed. So yeah, I actually do that. I want to read more of those books in 2021 as well because I just feel like I'm not spending enough time doing them. But I don't know like how I'm going to work that out with my schedule. So, hello, people that just joined. Do you have dark kind of whimsical art in your house? Not necessarily book related. I do actually. So like I don't have anything up right now because all of my art is in storage until I move, but if you watched on my other channel, if you watched my apartment tour before I moved out, I think I showed a lot of my art there. And I actually have a lot of more stuff that I like want to add to that. But I tend to do a lot of like art with like blues and greens and stuff in it. And like skyscapes, actually. So yeah, I do like that vibe. And I want to get more. Like once I move and I'm in my place that I will hopefully stay at for fuck's sake for like a while, then I will have it like fully decked out and all the art and stuff that I want. I hate chick fic where a city woman moves to a countryside and acts like no one knows where the internet is. We literally have cleaner air. We know what Google is. Yeah, like I hear you. Yeah, any of the pretentiousness around cities, I just like don't like. Do you work with people who have PTSD? Yes. I would say not. Maybe half of my caseload has like some version of PTSD or trauma. I have some people that have like full-blown PTSD diagnoses. But I would say more than just the people with diagnoses actually have it, you know, or at least have some like trauma stuff going on. I would say most people in life have some kind of trauma going on. So, yeah. Yeah. It is such a pain in the ass to paint your own toes. I mean, I've been doing it for years. I've never really been a pedicure person, but I'm seriously thinking when this is all over, I might be a pedicure person. Like, I'm just over it. That could be like the one self-care thing I do along with getting my nails done. Get my nails and toes, boom. Everything else I can do myself. If you had to choose one author to read for the rest of your life, who would that be? Sorry for my English. I speak Spanish. No, your English is totally fine. It's funny. I mean, it's not funny, but like whenever someone comments like sorry for my English, your English is usually impeccable. Like English speakers that are native usually like speak like shit in comparison to someone who is not a native speaker. So believe me, you're fine. One author to read for the rest of my life. That's a hard question because some of my favorite authors don't put out a lot of books. So that would suck because like I would read like Erin Morgenstern, but like she puts out a book every like 5 or 6 years. So they would have to be somebody who like comes out with stuff like every year, and those aren't necessarily authors that I would want to read only for the rest of my life, right? Like in that case, it's almost like you would choose like someone like Brandon Sanderson maybe, who's a beast and writes like a ton of shit. But I wouldn't want to read only Brandon Sanderson for the rest of my life. So that's hard because you would have to kind of juggle like what they come out with and stuff. Maybe Susan Dennard. I don't know. Even her, like she only comes out with stuff like once every like 2. Couldn't function like that. Do you prefer hardbacks or paperbacks? I don't really have a preference, to be honest. I know some people are like really gung ho for one or the other. I just want all of them in a series to like match. Like I want to get them all in paperback or all on hardback, but otherwise I'm like, I don't really care that much. Maybe paperback's like slightly easier, but again, I don't really care. If you could get a pedicure with one fictional character of your choice, who would it be? Catherine Pierce, probably. She seems like someone who would go and get a pedicure with me. This is such a pain. I mean, it would obviously be easier if I was sitting in like a better area and had like my feet up or something, but who has the time? Who has the patience? And I'm totally somebody that like when I paint my toes, I get the polish like all over and then I just let it wash off when I take a shower next. I don't even try to not look like a toddler did it. Which is why I should just have someone else do it. As a way to support the economy. Okay. Oh my God. Oh, yeah. I'm not a psychologist because of my own PTSD. I've done a lot of reading. The book, The Body Keeps a Score, got me through coming to terms with my diagnosis, allowing myself to believe it. Yeah, that is a very, very good book and very well known in the like mental health sphere for PTSD and trauma. It's great. Most reread series or book. Well, probably the Anita Blake series by Laurel K. Hamilton is like my most reread series. Like I've reread that series like so many times. Not recently, like not in like over 5 years, but that was a series I used to reread over and over. Since BookTube, I've probably reread, probably at this point, like the Witchlands books the most, because I reread each one before each new release. So potentially those. I've reread The Night Circus twice. I don't reread a lot though, obviously. It's my thing to like not do. Are you doing nail art or just a plain color? On my toes, I'm just doing a plain color. I don't do nail art on myself at all. But I don't really think I would do nail art on my toes a ton. Maybe like flowers or like, I don't even know what else I would do on my toes. I'm very much like a plain color on my toes person. Do you still bullet journal? I do, but not as much as I used to. Like I don't really use it as like my planner or anything because I'm not doing enough to like warrant that. So I will usually do my video spread for each month and my like monthly to-dos. And then I do quarterly goals and then I do like beginning of the year stuff. So right now I'm working on my spreads for like beginning of the year goals, who I want to be in 1 year, breaking all those goals into SMART goals and putting those all in my bullet journal. So I don't do a ton. So I'm going through my journals like way slower than I have in the past because I'm just not taking up the space in them anymore. I take up like 2 pages a month and then 2 additional pages for each quarter for my quarterly goals. I can scoot you down a bit so you can actually see me. Okay. Do you see yourself getting into BL manga? I don't know what that is. Into manga. I've always said like I would. I'm not against it, but I like never really like reached for it. I've never really tried. How did you get into the Anita Blake books? You know what? I don't really remember. Oh, okay. No, I do. So I first read the Mary Gentry series, which is the same author's other series, because one of my friends was reading them, I'm pretty sure. And it was like a Fae series. And then realized that there was another, like I ran out of books really quickly in there because there's only like maybe 3 out. And I switched over to the Blake series and read those because there was like 12 out at the time, and then just like kept reading them as they came out. So yeah, it's a good time. Last book you bought. Last book I bought. I haven't really bought. I don't really buy a ton of books because I get my romances, typically speaking, off NetGalley, and then I got a bunch of books for my birthday, and I knew books were coming for Christmas. So like I don't really buy stuff for myself. Let me see if my Amazon tells me. I mean, the last book I bought, like I bought books for other people. I just haven't bought. I mean, the last book technically that I bought was where's my shopping list? I just redid my apps. Okay. Was a study guide for the LCSW test. That's coming like tomorrow. But like a fiction book. Well, I bought, this is not a fiction, but I bought The Year of the Witch by Temperance Alden, or Alden, however you say her name, which is a witchy book. Yeah, I haven't bought some things since, let's say in all of 2020. I can scroll all the way back to September, and there's no like fiction booktube type books on here. The last book I bought was Set Fire to the Gods, which was one of our book club books, on August 23rd. So everything, I mean, I bought other books, like again, like psychology books and the witchy books I just mentioned, but as far as fiction books, I'm reading the books on my shelf. Yeah, it's crazy that you guys actually get so much teaching in English, because then you can speak it like just as well, if not better, than actual native speakers, which is a little bit nuts. Because we obviously get, most places have a requirement for a foreign language, but pretty much no one remembers that foreign language after they leave school. So, because we're not really taught it in detail, we don't get 15 years of teaching it for sure. It's not what happens. So yeah. How's your TBR going? I'm down to, I want to say, let me actually look up my, what my spreadsheet says, which I haven't added some books to it, so it's not going to be completely accurate. But my reading spreadsheet is telling me that I have 21 books left in my TBR as of today. Maybe 20, because I just finished something. So it's cool because I got all the books from my beginning of the year TBR read, and then got some of those new books for my birthday. And I'm still down to I'll be down to under 20 before the new year, which was my goal anyway. So. What's one book series you regret reading? What came to mind instantly, and I don't really think I regret this, but what still is a blow to me, is Fallen Kingdoms by Morgan Rose. I don't regret it because it was such a big part of some of my initial booktube friendships that I still have, like people like Lainey and Kayla and I'm forgetting who else. We all read those at the same time, and we're obsessed with them, and we loved them. And the first 4 books were great, and the last 2 books sucked. And so now it's a series that does not sit in my feelings at all, besides the nostalgia of early booktube for me and the friendships and stuff. But yeah, it's kind of a series that I'm just meh, meh. Is there any other series that was super disappointing at the end that I regret reading? I don't know. I mean, I kind of regret all the books that I end up really not liking that are 1 star, but I don't really give them much thought after. Have you read His Dark Materials by Philip Pullman? I have. It is a series that when I was reading it, I wasn't super into it. I read it a couple of years ago. but I really like talking to people about it after. Like, I think it's a really good series to discuss. And I do want to watch the show at some point. I mean, I just was saying that, like, I don't watch a lot of TV. So will I ever watch the show? Who knows? But the show looks good, and it is such an interesting world, and I really like it. Any ideas what you're planning on starting after God of War? Well, I finished God of War, and I've started Ghost of Tsushima. Shishima. I keep like saying that wrong. I am going to look and see what other games are on my wish list because I'm forgetting. And I have Amazon up like right now. And I'm after I finish Ghost of Tsushima, which will probably be like January or something. Hopefully I'll get like 1 or 2 games for Christmas because I really only asked for games, like 2 liquid lipsticks and a Roomba for my apartment when I move. So like that's it. That's all I need. That's all I want. Okay. So I asked for Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Outer Worlds. Oh, I can take this off because I bought that. And Final Fantasy VII Remake. Those are the 4 games that I have on my wish list. And then myself, I will eventually buy Assassin's Creed Origins. I just haven't played that yet. But will I play Valhalla first? Oh no, honestly, I wouldn't mind playing Origins before Valhalla. I happened to skip Origins and go right to Odyssey because it was cheaper at the time when I was playing them. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if I got one of these games. I hope I got at least one. If not, I'll just like buy one myself when I want to play something next. But I don't know what I would pick next. Maybe Outer Worlds. Maybe give that a go. My best friend lives in York, and I just remember she said the research into Viking era York for Valhalla is really good. Yeah, I mean, like the Assassin's Creed games get the place and the settings like typically like really accurate. Like they do a really good job with those games, so I'm not surprised at all. I started volunteering at a cat cafe, and it's been the loveliest. Ooh, that's nice. I kind of want to do that, to be honest, when my cats would get jealous. Do you read much fantasy in adult or young adult? I would say at this point, I primarily read adult. Like, let me see what my reading spreadsheet again says. I'm giving you guys a sneak peek for what I'm going to talk about in my like end of the year wrap up. But this year, I read 82% adult and 32% YA. So, does that even work out correctly? Oh, it's because never mind. It'll reconfigure correctly. But as I put in books into my what I'm currently reading, but it's not finished yet, it skews the stats. That's why that totaled out to 114%. So, but it'll be like around that, obviously, like much more adult than young adult. Do you plan on dyeing your hair? Probably not. I do want to get some, like, there's some temporary stuff that people will use, especially for curly hair, by a brand that I use for curly hair. So I might use that, but it's such a pain in the ass to like dye your hair. The colors that I like are a pain in the ass. Like, I mean, if you watch me back in the day, I had like blue, purple, and green for a while in my hair, and it was such a pain to maintain. So I probably won't be doing that again. I was surprised which shadow was on your most anticipated list. I just happened to forget it. It should have been. I put it as a pinned comment at the bottom because everyone was mentioning that. I just didn't have it in my most anticipated Goodreads list because it's one of those books that I'm like, yeah, I'm going to buy it. Like, I don't need the reminder. So like I didn't add it. But that means when I made the video, I like didn't have it as a reference. And so I just totally forgot about it. But like, it's a book that like, yeah, like it's one of those like, duh. Like, but yeah, I forgot, which sucks because I didn't realize it until after it was uploaded and everyone told me. And I was like, well, now I can't go back and like add it. But I'll be talking about it a lot in my like most anticipated for spring. I think it comes out in what, like March video. So you'll get my gushing for it then, at least. What is a memorable reading experience? Like you read a book on holiday, or it was a buddy read, or just remember it when you read it really well? I mean, honestly, The Night Circus was like pretty memorable because I was moving. One of the times that I was moving and I was like reading it nonstop, like up until like 3 a.m. So that was pretty memorable. Buddy read wise, I don't have a ton of like super memorable buddy reads. What else? I would say The Night Circus is one of my biggest ones. Some audiobook experiences have been pretty memorable just because it's like audio. Like listening to American Gods while driving home for Christmas was cool because it was talking about a lot of like Midwestern settings that I was really familiar with. So that was kind of fun. Yeah, those are the ones that stick out. Throwback, did you play the DLC for Assassin's Creed Origins? I haven't played Origins yet. I just mentioned that, which you might have asked this before I mentioned it. But and I didn't play, or I played like part of the DLC for Odyssey. But I need to go back and play Origins, which I'll play at some point, probably soon. Are you going to be able to keep doing your job remotely for a while? Yes. Like we're basically not going to go back until like everyone, like the majority of the population is vaccinated. Like we've been fine. We have no really reason to go back. So like we won't until it's like really safe. And honestly, I don't even know what it's going to look like at that point. It's going to be up to insurance companies, but I think a lot of people are going to want to stay remote. And then it's like, what do we do? And like some insurances probably won't let you, so that might like change things, but some might. Like I don't know what they're going to do because right now most insurance companies are doing like a temporary allowing telehealth, so they might take that back or they might not. Like we don't know what they're going to do. So it's going to be interesting if like we have a mix of telehealth people and in-person people. Like it's just going to be weird figuring all that out. But again, we're not going to have to figure it out until probably like fall or winter of next year. Regarding the language learning, if you could be fluent in a second language, which would it be? Imagine that you have no difficulties. I think Spanish would be like super helpful, but if I could choose something just like frivolous, not frivolous because that sounds like it's rude, but just like a one that I won't necessarily use all the time, but I could speak it like perfectly. I think like Gaelic would be bomb. I think Russian would be really cool, and like Japanese, or maybe even like Mandarin. Mandarin you could use depending on like the profession that you're in, but like around here, like Spanish would be like the most like used ones. Like no one around here is speaking Gaelic, but that would be like probably my top choice. Or oh, that's my timer, so I have to wrap this up pretty quickly. Or ASL. I'm changing my answer. ASL first, then Spanish for like the actual like useful ones. For me, around here, and then for again like ones that I probably wouldn't use that much, like Gaelic. Did you see Erica Johansson is coming out with a prequel to Queen of the Tierling? I didn't, but I will read that. What book series do you recommend if you want to dive into adult fantasy? I've done a whole video on that. So if you look up like if you search like fantasy or like beginner series, like I have a lot of videos about like beginner fantasy starter pack or like if you like this, try this like adult book or whatever. So I have some videos on that. Outer Worlds was really fun, but short. That's okay. I'm actually okay with short games right now. Are you into Greek mythology? Yes. And if you are, what book is your favorite retelling? Of the ones I've read so far, I mean, my favorite myth is Hades and Persephone, but like I haven't read a favorite retelling of that yet. So probably Circe by Madeline Miller. It's probably like my favorite. Are you going to read In the Holidays? Yes, I have. Thank you, IDIC Warrior. That is super, super sweet. I really appreciate it. Thanks. I know I have this option, but I wasn't, yeah, I didn't think that people necessarily use it. So thank you. I appreciate it. That's super, super nice. For someone who doesn't know, because I don't know how, it's not like letting me pop up with it. Hold on, maybe there we go. I'll show you guys. Thank you. This is like the super, I think it's called like super tip or something. Oh, I forget what it's called. I've seen other creators have it. It's on it if your like channel's monetized. So you can technically like tip people during like live streams and stuff. And that's very sweet and very generous. And I really appreciate you. So thank you so much. I'm sorry that I have to wrap up so quick because of work, but thank you. I really appreciate it. That means a lot to me. I'm a little like shocked. I was like, oh my God, wasn't expecting that like at all. Okay, I want to try to get all the questions if I can before I have to leave, which is in like a few minutes. I think I answered this, that I have read In the Holidays. That is a really quick book to read. Really want to talk about Shadow and Bone, read the first book and I was disappointed. Your expectations probably were too high. That book was like, those books were written a while ago now in like YA times. So they're going to feel basic as hell to someone that's used to like current day YA. Should I go on? I really love Inks and I want to get to Six of Crows if it's better written. I think Six of Crows is slightly better written, but you're going to need, for later books in the Six of Crows and then later books in the Grisha, like overall world, you're going to need Shadow and Bone references. So if you can just like maybe audiobook it, that would be probably helpful. Sorry, I know some people just went into Six of Crows, but I think especially for Crooked Kingdom, you're gonna need that stuff. As a Deafy, I really appreciate you choosing ASL. I love ASL, and I like honestly at some point I want to learn when I have the mental capacity to do so. Okay, I think what time is it there? It's 5:57, which means I gotta like, well, I'm just gonna immediately sign on to my session. So, did you hate the Troy movie? No, I loved it, but like it is not accurate like at all. But it's one of my like trash movies that I love like a lot. Well, I haven't watched it in a while, so maybe I wouldn't love it anymore. But when I first came out, I really liked it. But it's garbage. Like it's not good. But yeah, I'm okay with that and sitting in my feelings that way. All right, I have to wrap it up because I have to go and see my 2 clients today. But thank you for joining me. I'll try to maybe do one more before the end of the year since this one had to be so short. I know typically I sit on here for like 2 hours, like 2.5 hours. I just couldn't, to fit it in, I just couldn't. But I will try to do one like here on Instagram before the end of the year. Or maybe I'll do one in January, but like I'll try to fit it in at some point. So thank you guys for stopping by and watching. And I hope you guys have a good holiday. Enjoy your solstice or your Yule, whatever holiday you're celebrating. And I will see you guys soon. And keep watching the Vlogmas videos if you are watching them. I deeply appreciate it, both here and on my other channel. Thanks so much.